good, your mark go bagua. I tell you that, but you don't care. You don't give a damn, you don't dare. My number one girl, you rule my world. You took my heart, never apart, but you made me beg. You made me beg. I come over, you made me beg. But why? Why? But why? Some love, give me some love. Be my better half. I promise I will never let you down, my girl. Jewelry, dollar bills, many things don't mean nothing for as long as you got my heart. Yeah. Now watch your number, come on, Sikumanyi mulungi njakwetegereza. I say yes, I say no, I say baby let's take it slow. You are my number one girl, you rule my world. You took my heart, never a bad part. You made me big, you made me big. Every time I come over, you make me big. But why? But why? But you never ever take what I say. See, I need you. But you do what you do ever again. You rope my wall, it goes around, around and round and round and round. I love you so, I need you so, I never leave you so. Girl, I tell you this every day, every night, that I really feel you again tonight. Give us a chance, you and I, you and I, you and I. Give us a chance, you and I, you and I, you and I. Play your mind, wateka kanyewa basumira nyama makwasa mapera. Wasaba hurry to the floor. Mugambi wanna chase it, so no matter what she has to let her go. Wanna chase it, so I never dem wagalali na no. Wanna chase it, so I stay la teasing and go to Mutwala, a shopping a Wambala. Ga waving a finish line, bye bye, ga stepping a better stay la teasing and go to Mutwala, a shopping a Wambala. Ga waving a finish line, bye bye, ga stepping a. That's why they got think what she say. She thinks she give up like that, you know. No, you tell her this. Tell her the one it is every. Yeah. You know, she goes, that's why she say every time. But tell her the wallet is heavy. Okay, man. Good morning, my people. How are you doing today? Little random Katok Thursday. Mwasuze mutia, muyombia Mark Ngabuli Jo. Good morning, travel live vlog, Richard Luanga. Juma Ali, today that's the microphone we have. Yesterday we were at shoot and someone accidentally went with my mic. So I cannot hook up an external mic. So the sound we have today, we have to make it work. Yeah. Noah Hanoman, Starch Events. Juma Ali Okecho, Richard Okema, Council Patrick Asiku. Yes, good morning. He's saying that IST is doing the same thing the Mark X was doing, going off all the time. Brigitte Kakai, good morning. Lawrence Biamuka, Marcos Masagaba Katamba, Isaac Katende, Nabari Kamori people. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Mujye gadi kumotoka. Wachinabe echo kigadi. Mujye gadi kumotoka. I like that thing. Kamoroka chako. So finally I confirmed ekizibu twakimazeewo ebigaana tujja bikolanga. So yesterday I did not complete, I wasn't able to complete the Mark X story. I'm going to give you the entire story today, what we did with the Mark X. Paul Sema VIP, good morning. Athanaye, can a full tank go to Kasese and back in a new Balmatic? I have no idea. I've never been to Kasese. So I don't know the distance. It depends on the distance. It depends what it's giving you when you're on a highway. Yeah, so I have no idea. So you have to know the distance first, and then you also have to know your driving style, and then you have to know how healthy your car is and stuff like that. So the Mark X that was given to me last week, finally we handed it over yesterday. Now this is the report of the Mark X. So the Mark X, the owner reported, eventually I learned that from the time that he bought that car, it had the issues that we worked on. And so Lawrence is saying you'll use about 1.5 tanks. So the owner says from the time he bought it, it had those issues. So the two issues were, one, the car was going off randomly, especially when you have just started it. So I saw it happened to me once, and that we fixed by washing the throttle. But the throttle might actually need replacement if it keeps fluctuating, because still the idling, when the car is idling, it's not as stable as it should be. But the throttle was washed, so it's clean. What else happened? The other thing that the car did was that you drive for about 1 kilometer or 2 and the steering would get hard, and then it will bring the power steering signal on the dashboard, which he had taken to several garages and it hadn't been fixed. Yeah, they made him buy the power steering control unit. Okay, he thought he bought the power steering control unit, but they did not buy the power steering control unit. They did not buy it. So what did we do? Normally there are problems that I know that in a car should be solved. There are cars that I know that cannot fail. You get nyina moroka zemanyi nga tesobola kugana, like a Mark X. You get tesobola teina bwenema. So teina bwegana. The one thing I've realized that we are struggling with in Uganda and probably Africa, we struggle with the diagnostic problem. Like, people don't know how to diagnose problems. Even in our health, our doctors, I think they just don't give it time to diagnose what's wrong with the patient. You go to a hospital, they'll check for malaria, they'll check for typhoid, and if you don't have those things, they'll put a drip. That's the thing that I've seen most of the times. Beyond what they know. I think maybe that's the way they do their work, but that's a problem. If anybody has watched a TV show called House, House is a very popular show. This very rude doctor, very rude, very
I think he's antisocial. He has his own troubles, but he's a very good diagnostician. He can diagnose a problem, yeah, by just thinking. You get, like doctors would diagnose cancer and he would say, this person doesn't have cancer. You get, and then he would say, what are you eating? Where do you live? What do you put on your body? How often do you sleep? Stuff like that. And then you'll find a problem which is very simple, yet probably they had even started chemotherapy. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So House, I find that most of the TV shows that show popular figures, even if you went to, for people that watched Boston Legal, if you watched Boston Legal, the thing that makes the lawyers there fantastic is that they spot the problem. They know. I think some of the best people in their field know how to diagnose problems. Like the moment you learn how to diagnose a problem, you become one of the best in your field. Everywhere. Let it be sound technicians, performing arts. Let it be construction engineering. The moment you start knowing that this is where most people go wrong, or this is the biggest problem that maybe buildings will get, you are a diagnostic expert, then you start learning how to solve the problems. And when you learn how to solve problems, you also learn how to avoid them. So one thing I've learned is that most of our mechanics don't actually know how to diagnose. They know how to fix, but they don't know how to diagnose. So there are certain things that they know how to fix. They will not try to find out what's wrong with your car. They'll just fix what they know. You get? So that's what the Mark X was struggling with. And that's why now I've officially, my diagnostic fee is not 150 to 300. It's 300. My diagnostic fee is 300,000. You'll give me the car for a couple of days and I'll diagnose a problem. I'll tell you what the problem is. If you want to take it to your mechanic, you can take it there. If you want to leave it so that I fix it with my team, I'll fix it. And then you will test drive it and see the problem is gone, and then you will pay the labor for fixing the problem before you take the car. I'll not give you to take the car before you pay because I've gotten that problem before with the Outlander guy that works with the Ministry of Education. I fixed the problem he had spent almost 5 million on, and I asked for labor 500,000 and he refused to pay that labor because according to him we solved a very small problem. You get? So we did not deserve the pay, yet he had been spending millions of shillings every time and the problem wasn't going away. You get? So diagnosis is 300. I've realized we have a diagnostic problem. So before I go back to the Mark X, yesterday someone called me again. He has a Ractis. Now, also guys, when you're going to buy a car, I know you guys know a lot about cars and all. Maybe you think spending money on inspection is a lot. Arthur is asking for 450,000. That's a lot of money. He's not even a mechanic. I'll just get a mechanic and go. Guys, if someone doesn't know how to diagnose a problem, he's going to get you a problem. The Mark X that we fixed, the problem started from buying it. Okay, the problem started from buying it. The Ractis that some called me about yesterday, he says he has spent 7 million shillings so far. The car is 7 million. Where do you spend 7 million on the Ractis, people? How do you spend 7 million on the Ractis? I asked him for 300 diagnostic fees and he said, "Nee, Arthur, that's a lot. And I asked him, you have spent 7 million shillings on a car and the problem is not solved. I am telling you, I can find your problem at 300. And you're saying that's too much money?" And I told him, you know what? Keep your car with your current mechanics. Now, the problem still with that Ractis started at purchase. He bought a 1.3 liter Ractis. I've been telling you guys time and again, but he told me, Arthur, I bought it because it was cheap. Guys, wanting to save money all the time is going to cause you problems with the cars. But when you're saving a cent, you're going to find problems. Now, I'm not even recommending mechanics to you. You come, you pay 300 diagnostic fees. I diagnose the problem. I tell you what the problem is. If you want, you take your car. and fix it elsewhere. If you want, you give me more days and I work on the problem. So let's go back to the Mark X as we wait for the practice person to show up. Now, guys, whatever you do with your car, whatever problem you have, I think it's the same thing I told Umar. You remember the Chikumi guy that I hosted on the Chimeza? His problem was that he was impatient because he did not give the car time to be diagnosed and fixed. Now he has no issues. So the Mark X, the power steering issue. Now when he bought the car, the power steering issue was there. Now the power steering issue was, it had a problem even with the previous buyer. And I think the previous owner. And I think the previous owner sold that Mark X because of the power steering issue and the issue of the car going off all of a sudden or stalling. So that was the issue. The Mark X has a main fuse. It's a very long fuse in the fuse box in front there. And that main fuse had been repaired. And because it had been repaired badly. That was one of the loose connections. That was loose connection 1. Now that main fuse works almost on every electronic of the car. Buli kintu ky'amasanyalaze kiri mu Mark X kiyita mu fuse eyo. But I think I don't want to say they were not looking at it, but I think they did not know where to look. That was what problem 1. Now that one we even fixed it when we were diagnosing. Problem number 2 that we finally worked on was a loose connection with the socket on the wire harness of the power steering control. Now the wire harness has a socket that comes in, that is in the car under the dashboard. Now the socket was loose. Now normally those sockets will happen Martin Arthur, me, I have no problem with taking their chances elsewhere. I have no problem. So guys, normally the problem with loose sockets is mechanics will because from what I saw, the initial problem was actually the fuse, the main. But because I think it took them time to realize that it's the main fuse, so they kept working. They kept taking the socket in and out, in and out, in and out, and in doing so, they created a problem with the socket. And now they never went back to the socket. So every time he would hit humps, or every time he would be in a rough road, yeah, the power steering warning light would come on and the steering would get hard. That's exactly what happened even on the first day. However, he would shake the steering and the signal will go off and the steering will get soft again. Now, a problem like that doesn't get diagnosed in a single visit to a mechanic. That's why emoroka bwebe kutabuseeko omuntu agenda ogikolako ogimulekera. Now, I'm not saying bring your cars to me. Nze moroka bw'ogindeetera ng'egaanye ng'ekumazeeko emirembe. Okitegedde? Nze mpa moroka ekumazeeko mirembe. Tompa moroka etannakumalako mirembe. Tompa moroka etannakumalako mirembe. So what we did, there were 2 options. First option was to buy the wire harness at about 350,000 because that wire harness is not in Chiseka market. We had to go to Waise, find a Mark X that got an accident, and negotiate with the person that has that thing. So he would sell the socket, but he refused. They want to give you the entire wire harness, which will cost 350,000. Now, we found that wasn't worth it, so we just kind of tied it together with cable tie. What do you want traffic you want? We tied the sockets together with cable tie tightly, and I explained to the person, the owner of the Mark X, that you know what we did. We did this. We could have told you to buy the wire harness, but it's not worth it. it's not worth it, because well, we can do it cheaper. And as long as you know that this has been done on your car, then it will not be a problem to you, because you could go to a garage and a mechanic tells you bano bakolera ekisiru lwaki basibako cable tie n'abijjako emmotoka neddamu nekola ekizibu kimu. So I told him, if you don't mind spending the money, you can actually decide to buy the full wire harness at 350,000, but I don't find that it's worth it. Kati ekyo kye twakoze kuyiiya kuba kuyiiya, but sometimes as long as you know what the problem is and you know that this problem has been solved this way, because techina ngeli socket ngatenywera bunywezi. So the gentleman came. Now the car had two other problems. One was the AC wasn't working. That's why when he gave me the car the first time, I did not take it home, because it did not have AC. But for him, he was telling me that the AC is working, and I told him no, it can't be that the AC is working, because he drives the car in the morning and at night. So it's very easy for him to think the AC is working, because in the morning the weather is already cold. So it's the same thing. So eventually when we were talking, he realized that it might be that. So I gave it to an AC guy, and he asked for 170,000 to service the AC system. And he said, after I don't have money, because I've solved the problem that you spent almost 2 million shillings on, and I've solved it for 300k. You get it? I've solved it, and I've made sure that you understand that you could have spent more money, but I am saving you the money, so you're not going to spend that money, and I've told you how I've solved the problem. And before anyone thinks I overcharged him, I showed him the problem in the beginning, okay, and I gave him the option to take it back to his mechanic so that his mechanic fixes it. So that's the thing that I do. You can pay me diagnostic fees only, and then you take your car back to the mechanic to fix it, or you can leave it with me, because the issue is that now you know what needs to be done. So he chose to leave it. Now the AC wasn't fixed, so I also gave him the option, let's go to City Oil. So I left him at City Oil because I had to go shoot some reviews. And at City Oil, I think they told him he needed to fix the fans, the AC fan of the car. So now I left the decision in his hands to either go back to the AC guy I showed him, or to work with the City Oil technician. So that's where it ended. The second problem that the car had was the brakes were not working properly. Now I saw that the day I was given the car, but that wasn't the problem I was supposed to solve. So he already knows the problem of the brakes. He has to buy a master cylinder. So that is something that we will solve later. So I gave him the car at around 11 a.m. yesterday. I texted him at around midnight to see if the problem occurred again, and he said the car was very okay. He's going to fix the AC and enjoy the car. So guys, that's what happened with the Mark X. Health expert, this question is very vital in general to us. Answer or Starch, good morning. Which question though? Osipankunda hi, obadobuze nyonyo, you were lost. So guys, my diagnostic fee is 300,000. Now I'm not even like, why? Because when I look at the history, the entire history of the cars that I've worked on, almost all cars, like the Mark X is the car that the person had spent the least money on. Most of the cars that have been given to find issues with and fix, like the Outlander guy had spent over 5 million on that car trying to fix it, and it was not working. You get, for him, he did not even pay diagnostic fees, but he failed to pay 500,000. Nenga ya imoro kaya jitade million tano nge ganyo kuterera na gano kuzisasula. You get, the Mark X guy had spent about 1.7 on the car, and the car wasn't getting better. In total, he gave me 650,000, and the problem was solved. You get, but the problem actually would not have been in the car if he had done pre-purchase inspection. You get, The thing with the Raktis gentleman that I talked to yesterday as well, he says, in his words, he says he bought the car from a friend of his because it was being offered to him cheaply. And it had a 2SZ 1.3 liter engine. And when he said he was having problems, my second question was, okay, what engine is in that car? Then he said it has the 2SZ. And then I asked him, didn't you listen to me? I told you guys not to buy cars with that engine. And he says, well, I bought it because it was the most affordable Raktis in the market. Guys, don't always buy the most affordable. Don't always buy the most affordable. Buy what's good for you. So then I asked him, where is the car? And he says it's in the garage. And then I asked him what happened. He says, well, the engine I bought with the car, yaite kwata idling. It wasn't idling. And then he took it to the mechanic. The mechanic opened the entire engine. They wanted to put rings. They did all that. And then the car refused. So the mechanic advised him that they should buy another engine, a new engine. So they bought a new engine and put it in the car. Still, the problem is still in the car. You get? So I think they bought a bunch of other things, fuel pump, blah, 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 blah. And he says he has so far spent 7 million. I think the numbers are not quite adding up. I don't see 7 million going there. Maybe he has spent about 3 or 3.5 there. But even then, 3.5 million shillings in a Toyota Raktis is a lot of money. You get? But I totally understand that if a mechanic keeps making you buy stuff, your money keeps going slowly by slowly. It's the thing that I've been telling even the people I inspect for. I keep telling you guys, if I inspect your car for you, if you go to a mechanic and he's asking you, even if I recommended the mechanic, if he's asking you for money that doesn't add up, call me first. Because mechanics will be mechanics any day. Mechanics will take advantage of you. You get? Mechanics will take advantage of you. And sometimes they'll make you spend money that is not clear. Sometimes, for example, the Mark X gentleman, his mechanics told him that they will buy a new power steering control. They did not buy a new power steering control. The power steering control was actually fine. What the power steering control lacked was frame. You know, frame is like the earthing of the car. And what happened is that someone might have been unscrewing the screw of the power steering control unit, and they broke the screw in the car. Now they did not want to fix that. What they did, bafuna ekiwaya ne bakisiba somewhere as frame. Kana kasumali ke kali kagaba power steering control frame. But that's what they did. One thing we did is I got someone abasali enjola. They came, put the broken screw out of there, put new threads, and then we put a new screw in the power steering control. That solved the frame issue. So the steering control unit got enough frame. You get? Now they lied to him that he would buy a power steering control. It's the same problem that the Raktis that I told you about that belongs to a person that is really close to me happened. They kept making this person buy alternators. The alternators had no problem. The problem was with a certain socket that had been disconnected from the battery. You get it? But you can imagine someone makes you buy one alternator, they make you buy another alternator, you spend more money. The day we solved that issue, that person has never gotten the problem again. And in the process, while they were not fixing the actual problem, even the battery died. So after fixing that issue, now the person also had to buy a battery. And I think one of you guys actually called me some time ago and they were telling me as well that they need to buy an alternator for their car. And still I told you the same thing. Alternators don't die to the level where you have to buy a new alternator. Alternators, guys, alternators don't die to the level where you have to buy another alternator. Alternators have parts that die in there. So all they do with alternators is replace the parts in the alternator. If you're going to buy a full alternator, you're going to spend about 450, 500,000. But if you're going to repair the parts in the alternator, you might end up spending 60K. But the mechanic, and the mechanic will tell you you're going to buy a new alternator. They will not bring back the old alternator. They will tell you to cause a butter. But what they have actually done is that they have fixed your old alternator and then told you that they have done better with your alternator and gotten a new one and saved you a bit of money. So instead of paying 500, the person has reduced like 700. So then ask yourself, if my alternator was actually that bad, why did the person that sells new alternators take my alternator? It's the same thing. Remember the new I told you about that we bought from the bond, where the was telling them that the gearbox is dead, and then they were telling the Indian that we are going to go to the person that is selling gearboxes, we are going to do better. They give us a new gearbox, we top up some money. You're asking yourself, if CVT gearboxes cannot be repaired, yeah, why is the person that sells new CVT gearboxes doing better with my bad gearbox? So that's the thing they were going to do, the Indian. They had, I think, charged him over 3 million. So the new gearbox, they told him about the new gearbox is over 4 million. But because we're going to do better with your bad gearbox, the other person will take your bad gearbox and we top him up with 3 million. I don't know if you guys get the logic that mechanics use. And I'm not saying that they should not do it. They don't know. Because there are problems that I know that are solvable, yeah? Nze banga limaze nga mbona ne motoka. Nze teri motoka igana. Teri just mechanical. I told you the time that we changed the engine in my Corolla. Emotoka nebuza amanyi nga teri nyabusozi. My mechanic reached the point of telling me naye athobe motoka tujitunde. Ne mvuga ne motoka ngenda paka ku bondi ndamuze motoka empya ya bondi. And then I asked myself, why? I asked myself, why am I buying another car? Going into guze motoka ina agenda chisolvinga. And I can tell you, I did not spend even a single shilling on fixing that problem. Ekintu kyetwali tumaze weeks nga nnya nga kitulemye okusolvinga. Omwana gwe nachiwa emotoka nagimuwa saawa nga 3 ez'okumakya ku saawa 7 ekizibu yali akimaze n'asooka agaana okukiŋŋamba kye yakola. Okitegeera? N'asooka agaana okukiŋŋamba. Later on I realized what the actual problem was. But I did not even pay him because of not telling me what the problem was. Okitegeera? But abantu gye bali abamanyi okukola ebintu, but you can be there like fighting with the problem nga todya kima mwe bagayi. Ekintu ekitta capacitors ono ze yagamba guba musana. So kati dashboard eno nagigulira kana account, this one. I try to reflect the sun whenever I can. Ebugu mwele omusana nga gwako ennaku zino. How do you guys abatalina esimu moroka finish kumalako mutya? So when I park in a place that has heat, I shield my car, my dashboard like that, so that I don't get a lot of heat, and it actually works. So guys, health experts, ultimately consistency is a protracted endeavor characterized by deliberate choices and actions. I don't know what that means. That's a lot of English. Good morning, Akampa Alan. Arthur, that spare you bound with wire harness, couldn't the spare be bought? It could be bought, but it would have cost the owner of the car 350,000. But this is what I'm going to tell you. Another mechanic could actually say, tuchiguze na akora chetu akoze. The reason why we did not buy that wiring harness, because the person was already complaining, aneza feze musabye ayagala zibagaininga. Nemugamba kino ekintu you can decide to buy it. Now, if they ever feel like they need to buy it, it's okay. Asobola kugenda n'akigula. But that problem was solved. Ebintu bingi in our cars are bound with that thingy. Nakayise ebintu bingi moroka yaffe basiba bisibe bwe batyo. Okitegeera naye lwakuba ffe bana Uganda bwe tuba tukisibye, we know ogenda kunyooma kati makanika tagamba agamba ekizibu nkikoze. So it could have been bought, but twabadde tukifuna bwayise yokka. Eno wansi wakise kati kiriyo. Kati wakise kati obogenda gula ekiwaye eky'emmoroka kyonna. Okitegeera. which would probably cost you, let me say, like 600, which is not worth it. Hi, Chris Fitness, Aliganyira Derek. Arthur, you're running today. No, I'm running tomorrow, not today. I run Wednesday and Friday. Watermelon Teba Day will start. So guys, if the problem in the Mark X does reoccur, I will solve it again. I will solve it again. But that problem should not reoccur. If it reoccurs and it's the socket, he knows what to do, or he can bring it back. Now, someone is going to ask Arthur, Wachi or Sawa Center Nyingi, because eventually we to a robot do kuyiga. And some of you guys go there and wasting cut. You can imagine Oriagamba, he spent 700,000 on a practice. 7 million. Guys, 7 million was imani mwewa guy. 7 million. Do you know what it means to buy an engine? Emoro kanesi garange China chizunguze engine empia. Every time you mention dashboard, start to jeko na wherever you. So guys, now there are problems. You don't have to bring the car to me. And I've told you guys, every time you have a problem that is reoccurring in your car, change a mechanic. Your mechanic is the problem. Every time you have a problem that is reoccurring in your car, your mechanic is the problem. Sometimes he just doesn't know what the problem is, and also he's too proud to ask other mechanics for advice. Orabakati, the Mark X we worked on, I think I worked with about 4 mechanics. So you see why my diagnostic fee is expensive, because in the Sikanika, but I know which people to call to look at that car and tell me what the issue is. I know which people to call. I know where to take the car. Now you're going to go to your mechanic's garage. Mechanica wa yagare moro kajikolerawo agenda aliera nchakome wakole ku motoka yo. Okitegeera bwegana ze wagambe soko ogenda ombulire bwenebe ekoze. Okitegeera, and that's not how they fix cars, especially with problems that are occurring. Pepper Ibrahim. So I told you guys I would show you this. So in the Prius, this is the hybrid control unit. Okay, the inverter. This is the inverter coolant pump. Kano ka pump okaraba kano. Kachamula bajita batya. Nchogedde kati naye nkyerabidde. Waliwo yaganye na ADHD. So for the hybrid system to be cooled, that actually moves the coolant around the hybrid system, and it gets the water from the coolant from the radiator, and then it moves it around. Yeah, it moves it around, and this fails a lot. So far I've replaced 2. The first time that mine died, the one that came with the car originally, the person that the guys that work on hybrids sold me this one. It's Japan used, and it did. I think it worked for like 3 months and shut down when we were in the middle of an inspection. So they phoned me in Nakawa and got me this. Yeah, and then they put the one that is on. Now, because I realize it's a problem that happens a lot, everyone has told me it happens a lot. Mr. Rich got me 2 of these. These are Chinese, and now I'm wondering what Chinese can't do. So I ordered for 2 of these. Now I have them with me. I move with one in the car at all times, because this thing doesn't warn you when it dies. And of course, when it dies, you can literally drive for another 40 kilometers. But for the safety of the hybrid system, it's important that whenever you can, you change it immediately. Most of the things that will die on your car, especially if you bought the Kango or Jaga, right? Most of the things that die in are actually fixable in like a day or in like an hour. Like this thing, Kano karaba kangu kakusako. You just need like a 10 inch bajita wrench, 10 inch, no sumula, no jamweri, no jake ebiseke wano magalo, no zamweno no gisibamu, no zake ebiseke, and you move. So it's very easy. Guys, you have refused to give me likes. Likes. So I ordered for 2 of these. That's the same person that got me the radio, which permanently refused to work. Kativia radio ndabika. Nenga ate it can go in there. Just that our technicians haven't learned how to do that. So I might be the first person to actually work on that. Aba hybrid mechanical hybrid, and they all tell me they have never done it to this model. They have never changed the radio. I want to change it. So I'm going to give myself plenty of time and work on that. So guys, the biggest problem we have with our cars is that our mechanics or our technicians, they don't diagnose, they just know how to treat. And I think it's the same thing with the health sector. You guys have heard of stories nti bamukebedde ne bagamba ina typhoid, bwagenda kudwalira eddala mbwate talina typhoid, mbwate kati alina stress, bwagenda kudwalira eddala nti ate kati alina malaria. It happened with my son. We admitted to a hospital for 3 days, and the guys were treating typhoid. Dude did not have typhoid. We went to another hospital. Typhoid. There is a test I think they do to see typhoid. I think for the past like 1 year they can see. Typhoid. In a bacterial infection or whatever. I don't even remember what they treated. Na ye omane yalita zanya nga ali kuchupa ali mbuliri. The kid took 1 dose natandika okuzanya, and the next day the kid went to school. Okitegeera, eh? So I find that ekintu kye tulina mu health sector yaffe, probably because our doctors are overworked. I want to say that's the thing, because they pay them very little money, so they have to work over and over and over again, so they don't get the time to actually research. Okitegeera, eh? They don't get time to research. If they got time to research, they would know nti omuntu talwala malaria na typhoid byokka. Omuntu, I think that's the reason why they cannot treat allergies. Allergies gwa ino zetegeerera. Okitegeera, nze allergies zonna zennyina nze nzetegeeredde, tewali musawo yannyambako zitegeera. Bw'ogendayo nga allergic reaction emira kano ojja kutereera ng'okamira. Okitegeera, eh? If I hadn't gone to YouTube, ngana mwabamo the things to do with cars, eh? If it were not this channel, if it were not for this channel, some of you guys will not know the things you know about cars, because our mechanics will treat the Jovan, they will treat the problems. They will not find the cause of the problems. And as long as mechanic asobola okukanika emmoroka, bw'akanika emmoroka kasita anti testeering ekaluba bwegonda bwetinga agamba njimaze empaya esatu, kati ng'osigala omuwa for the next like 7 months, esatu every week, anti kiddamu buli week, ogenda omaliza nti buli week omwe emitwalo 12, ogenda omala omwaka ogenda okugwanga omuwadde $1,400,000 ng'ate ekirwadde tekikoze eki tekiweddeewo. So for me, I know that the biggest problem we have in Uganda is that we have poor diagnosticians. I think that's the reason why we enjoy some of the medical shows we see, some of the legal shows we see. Right? Of course, now the lawyers one in Uganda, it's different. Nti omuntu alina sente ya wangulu omusangwe tekibanga konti omuntu era ne lawyer bennyini betugamba nti bamaanyi nabo obasasula sente nyingi. So it's possible that they solve the problem with money. They don't actually solve the problem because they are geniuses. I find that that's the issue. So now with our cars, every time you have a problem that keeps reoccurring, nabadde owa Mark X mwa example, nemugamba olaba kati project car yange wogigamba ogenda weegenda. Why? Because we gave it time. Wiring ali on point, the engine is on point, the transmission is on point, the suspension is on point because it was repaired. Okitegeera, teina na wezinamu wekolaki. I remember there is also a Mark X that was bought to me nga gaya agamba bwatuuka mu 120 etandika okuzina eti. And before he even came to me, I asked him, did you put bigger tires on your car? And he says, yes, I put. So the car is recommended to either put 16-inch or 18-inch wheels. Now, if you put 16-inch wheels, but recommending a size yomupira. Now, if you want a bigger wheel, you can put an 18-inch. And guys, take that seriously. Some of you guys are buying when I choose on my practice, then choose and take a mipire minene. Imoroka intani ko kunyonya mafuta and still no naka akantu akalimunga kajam. So I realized it was bigger tires. So I told myself the next time I buy tires, I'll put the stock tires, or I'll put the bigger rims and the bigger tires that are recommended for that car. Now, normally the bigger tires, that the bigger wheels that they recommend will be low profile, because bagamba boteka kompiro munene at least is the size yago. That is what the car is good for. Now, because our mechanics don't now batunde mpira, for them they don't care, bajja kuguza omupira omunene because batumayo agala kuongera ground clearance. Nenga tebagambye. So it's better if you want to raise your car, the ground clearance of your car, you use either big springs or spacers. I found that it's definitely going to be a better thing for you to do. When you put bigger tires, some of you guys just don't pay attention to it, probably because you don't go at high speeds, or because you think it's a normal thing. It's not really a normal thing. So, wano side driver, kurujao, there is a label. It tells you clearly which tires you should be putting on your car, the sizes. Don't go outside. And I know the tires that come with the car are normally expensive because they are stock tires. The reason they don't bring them is because now they bring the bigger tires because they know you're going to want to raise your ground clearance. But if you can, put the tires that are recommended for the car. What happened to doctors giving us a healthy chart? Nowadays, they only treat you according to pain. Here in Bahrain, they treat you according to your healthcare chart, blood group. Man, I don't know. I think, and God forgive me if I'm being wrong, but I think the thing is, ministries are not given to people that should be in the ministries in Uganda here. Ministries are given to people that support the president. Every ministry, look at all our ministers. They don't even give ministries to people that are qualified. They give the ministries to people that are supporting the president. Abanga amwechirabo. Oh, webale kumpagira ministry yiyo. You get? Abanga amwechira. And guys, the internet is a very big blessing to us. There's a story I learned about the 1980 war. I don't know if you guys watched that video. There's a Mosoga guy that was telling us the story. It's Bojiwuli, that story. You actually realize that all the opposition figures in Uganda currently, since 1996, are very good people. You get? Like all the guys, Okuva Kusebagala, Ogende Kusemwogerere, ogende ku BSJ, ogende ku Kyagulanyi, all these opposition figures are actually very good people. They don't want to work for this country. Try and research. I've read more about it and actually realized we were not helped. When I listened to that guy's story, I just realized, my God, internet, there's so much that we did not know. Like, there's so much when you don't know those things, Bobby guy, then you realize that, my God, the stories that we hear sometimes are not always the truth. So you need to cut in the ondaba. Whenever I have a headache, I don't take painkillers. I simply take water and have a nap. Me, I don't take painkillers. Painkillers in Nazigana, because I know painkillers mask the pain. So every time I have a pain, I wait and it goes away on its own, or I let it come until I figure. I'll get medication, but in my medication, I don't want painkillers. Mark X ya feyino. Sajono moyita anyumyeko namwe. Seka. Soko je. Omusajja oyo yalize nampako testimony nti ebintu byenkola nkola ebiganye. Soko mbuzo bali comfortable, bwabali comfortable baje. And we had yo soko jo we testimony nti nkola ebiganye. Osobola wa testimony. Hey, ndikula live. I even thought you were on the live. You were here, you were watching. I saw you. You were driving. when you're not going to be implicated. You just come and sit here and greet my people. Mwe kamara funa testimony wano nti nkole ebiganye. Emoroka egenda ku SC kati. Emoroka bagitwala ku SC. At least katumale broadcast eyo ne testimony yono omwami. And we had a situation with him. If you're comfortable, I can put you on camera no babuza nako no bagama ne chi. You push the seat behind. Akange kali wano skama sanyalazi. Ide moloka za mwempi kaka. So guys, this gentleman ababuli ne business here. So cool. They are live.
Hello guys. My name is Henry. My Mark X had an issue. It had issues.
Yeah.
It was stalling. It would stall like when I'm changing gears. And it also it would show a PS thing on the dashboard, and the steering would go brittle. It would go hard. So
some word brittle means hard. Yes.
So the car was really inconveniencing. It was so hard to handle. I went to some mechanics, and the expenses were many. Yeah, I was paying for things. I was running to the garage each and every time until I was like, nah. I called this guy, and he was like, bring the car for some days. We test drive it. We check it, and I gave it to him, and he diagnosed. I don't know how to say the word it's not easy. So he diagnosed the car, and he billed me. The bill wasn't so big. I liked that. Like, the issues were not so big actually. I think we didn't have, I don't know.
I think the problem was diagnostic problem.
Yes, diagnostic
People just
problem.
did not diagnose the problem, right?
Yes. So they worked on the problem. I am driving the car. Today I came with someone. Yeah. We were so happy. We came jazzing. I kept telling them how I actually went to the bond.
Yeah.
I went to the bond, and I had thought of changing the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't handle a car that is that inconveniencing, you get. But now I love the car. Now it is moving very well. I've come. They work on the AC, which wasn't worked on yesterday, and
we got it.
No, you got it.
Kati ngenda kukuta naye soko obagambe business. Ajje bakuwagire.
Tunda mpira ja motoka sizes zonna wali Old Kampala tukalya feriri opposite St. Matia Mulumba Church. It's rental investments. Empira Jona, all sizes, very good tires from Dunlop, Wanda, Joy Road, JK. We have all the tires at very good rates. I am very sure. If you call me, you'll get a fair deal.
Give them the number. Give them the number and say
my number is 070 50 56 851. It's also on WhatsApp. You can inbox me.
Kale. Thank you very much.
Live.
Kale, thank you very much. Badangenda bagambe byaffe ebyegulu ne kambireke. Kale guys, that's a testimony. I should get more of these testimonies, by the way. Oh no, I've just hijacked him. Era ababutajja at the right moment. Mbadde sigenda gifuna. So anyway, Mark X is for which it's a 2000. I think it's a 2005. The computer is a 2005 model. Hi Alex. Guys, I think it's time for me to go. Basibule, Mark X's are not manual. They are automatic. Chris Fitness is saying that energy drinks do the same damage as painkillers. And Avida da energy drink, Chris Fitness. Si someone na kuziddamu. Atola bane soda kati. Navudde ku soda, mbeera nywa kizzi kyange kiwota. Navudde kuki. Era now I'm an advocate. I tell people leave energy drinks again. Me, when I have a headache, it's either the food I ate, my digestive system has not liked it, or I've taken long not going man. Alan. Arthur, where is that book or story on the internet about those? No, it's not about the opposition guys. It's about the history of the country. It's not a book. You read from multiple sources, yeah, and then you realize that, oh, so we have been lied to. Multiple sources. You need to know. Arthur, why was the car stalling? Chairman Zach, you want to give me money also? The car was stalling because of loose connections. One, the first thing was with the main fuse. The second thing, he sold you tires at wholesale price. The second thing was the throttle. We worked on those. Henry sold you tires last year. Okay? Arthur, where is that book or story? It's not a book. It's multiple sources. You need to know what to look for. You need to look, and I think, when you control the media, you control the people. It's very true. Now, I think it even goes back to controlling the education system. You control the education system, you control what the people read, what the kids learn, you control them. Watch Tegay, right? Me, I'm telling my kids things. I'm telling my kids things the way I know them now. I'm not letting them just take what is coming from school. They have to know what is actually happening in the world. Guys, Kambasibule. But it was triggered by a video I watched, Martin Arthur. It was triggered by a video that I watched of some Musoga guy that was saying things that if you had, you would be furious. You would be furious. Katinze Kambasibule. Guys, temwera bidencha kuchimeza tugenda kubera Duncan Maliso. Tomorrow kuchimeza tugenda bera Duncan Maliso agenda kujja tunyumye kurali. So be there. Aina vibe, and I saw he's also fundraising for, I think he's fundraising to get equipment okutaniko shooting rallies. Muyombya Mark Travel Live Vlog, Richard Wanga, Juma Ali, Nsereko Starch, Nwaha Norman, Okecho Richard Okema, Cancer Patrick Asiku, Brigitte Kakai, Lawrence Biamuka. He has said the money is not a lot, Martin Arthur. Have you seen? He has said the bill was okay. According to the problem, the bill was okay. Katamba Isaac Katende, Cosmas Agaba, Paul Sema VIP, Lawrence Biamukama, health expert, Lawrence Omule, Dasha 256 original, Stephen Omuria, Starch Events in Kumaze Osipankunda, Chiobio Alex, Martin Arthur, Kampa Alan, Derek Lule, Fahad Kemi, Chris Fitness Dubulwa, Alganyira Derek, Funny Lifestyle, Seka Jab, Chintu Mark, Katamba, Isaac Katende, Julia Sengo, Barama Charity Organization, Roomco Constructions, or Consult, sorry, Pepper, Hamim, Health Expert, K. Jovan, Taremwa Samuel, Alexander Jotham, User Y, Chintu Mark, Martin Arthur Nakumaze, Chairman Zach, and the guys Abadi Mukamori. I don't take it for granted. Thank you very much, guys. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. Tell a friend to subscribe so that we hit that mark to silver. Yeah, and then we are the biggest community ku YouTube yemotoka, but we can even be bigger. We can even be bigger and compete regional. One of the biggest regional YouTube channels is in Moroka. Guys, thank you very much for being here with me. I wish you a very lovely day. May the good Lord bless you. I think I'm the biggest fan of Duncan Mariso. I never take it for granted. Even the guys that are watching this broadcast later on in the day, in the week, or in the month, may the good Lord bless you guys. Waswa Muhammadu Otu Sensibula. Dasha never greeted us. Dasha you can tell you. Mukama Bampero Mukisa, guys. Ciao.